The G-Shock GBD-300, a watch nobody has heard of until yesterday. I heard of it yesterday when I went to the G-Shock International website, actually casio.com/intl, which is the international site. Totally different than the site for the United States. And they have different products here. An emphasis on calculators. I guess they assume us Americans can calculate in our heads. We don't need calculators, whatever. Look at this. New products. GBD-300. All right? It's round. It looks different. Unlike some other watches I've seen. Black, white, yellow, orange. What color is that one? Let's take a look at it. There we go. The GBD-300. Do you guys see this thing? It has an MIP display, and just like the DWH-5600, it has this step counter. You know, like all these MIP display watches that Casio makes have fitness features, like this one, the Rangeman GPR H1000, right? And this graph, you see this, all these bars, that's supposed to be for your step counter, right? And why Casio keeps on like pairing up the MIP display with all the step counters and the Bluetooth and stuff is beyond me. Because, you know, if I were to sum up, what do G-Shock fans want? We want a watch that's like this one. This is the square, the GW5610, right? The GWM5610U, right? A square. See how it has an LCD display? What we want is just take the display and give it an MIP screen, right? That's it. But they take the watch and they add in a heart rate monitor. They add in a step counter. And then they add in an interface that you have to like hit enter, select, go up and down, rather than just hit mode to go through all the different modes. All right? We don't want that. Just change the screen. That's it. Just take the watch and just change the screen from LCD to MIP. But every time Casio makes an MIP watch, it has a Bluetooth, it has a step counter, it has the new interface, it has stuff that nobody wants and nobody was asking for. We G-Shock fans cannot make it clear enough. Just change the screen. And what we want is an MIP watch with solar, okay? This Rangeman has solar, right? The GBD-H2000, it has solar. The solar really does not do much for the watch. I mean, it might add 1 bar of power, but that's it. It just adds one bar. The old tough solar, this watch, the old-fashioned square, solar powered, tough solar, runs completely off the sun. You never have to worry about the batteries, all right? So, I see the GBD-H300. I am thinking, all right, look at that. Look around the perimeter. Is that a solar? See, there's like a diamond-plated steel pattern around the perimeter of this watch. And I'm scrolling down and, you know, looking, where does it say anything about the solar? Like there's a close-up of that diamond-plated steel pattern. It looks like Y's, right? And I'm scrolling down, looking through all the features. Shock resistant, 20 bar water resistant, keep yourself in time, great for runners, tracks your training, sporty design. Okay, nothing about solar. No solar, but it's sporty, right? And so this is not the watch we've been waiting for. It is. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they're going to like market this watch. How it's any different than a GBD-200, right? What's so special about this one? It's round, right? Well, let's look at it. Let's kind of do some detective work here. Look at the pictures, and if you notice anything, you know, leave your comments. But I would just say that, you know, first of all, this is in the G Move design, kind of like the GBD-200, right? and it has 4 buttons on the side, and then I didn't notice this at first, but it has this 5th button in the front, right under where it says protection. So this fifth button must be the light, okay? And it looks like the module has all of the same functions that is on the GBD-300, okay? And it looks like a pretty like a good sized watch, like not as like small as the brand new GDB-300. Brian, can you go get the new GBD-300? I think it's on Steve's dresser. And so there've been a bunch of new watches from Casio G-Shock that are very small. And this is just a Casio watch. This is the WSB-1000. It just came out. And you can see that they're making very diminutive, very thin watches. And this is the GBD-300 that just came out. A hard to read negative LCD display, making us all want that easy to read MIP display, right? But look how small it is. Okay, very small, very compact. It will not, unobtrusive, diminutive, won't get in the way, which is good, except for me, for this particular band was too short, didn't fit my wrist well. Thanks for getting this, Brian. But anyways, here we're looking at the GBD-300, right? No, I already forgot what this is called. Yes, the GBD-300. On the International Casio website. And so it's smaller, but not as small as the GDB-500. Okay? It looks like it's a little bit bigger than the GDB-200. All right? And here it is on someone's wrist. And so here it is paired up with an app. But this does not look like the app that I use with the Rangeman. And this is part of the reason why I hate apps, is because there's so much confusion with apps. Like at first, there was the G-Shock Move app, which worked with all of these, these fitness watches. And I think that with the introduction of this watch, the GBD-H2000, they said, hey, everybody use the Casio Watches app. We're transitioning to the Casio Watches app. And it created a lot of confusion to the GBD-H1000 wearers who upgraded to the GBD-H2000 and could not find it on the G-Shock Move app. That in America, they want all of the G-Shock wearers with the Bluetooth watches to use the Casio Watches app. But on this picture here, that's not the G-Shock Move app, right? See, it has a picture of New York. Someone went running in New York while using the metric system. Running along the banks of, that's not the Hudson River, that's the other side, right? Because that's Manhattan. But anyways, that's a different app. And that does not look at all like the Casio Watches app. All right, here's a picture that they've added like this hectic blurring effect. And it has some notifications. So this is a notification watch, right? And this is all blurred out, and it says mail, Kate Smith, and it's blurry, like you've just like you got a notification, like your watch beeped, it vibrated, okay, and you like holding it up to your face. Oh, an email from Kate Smith, I gotta go, and you're like running away, like urgent email from Kate Smith. Like you need a watch that you will know right away when Kate Smith emails you. Oh, I got to get back to the office. I got to type out my TPS report. So anyways, it has notifications. I don't know how many of you guys like that. I'm not really into the notifications. I've tried Bluetooth on some of my Bluetooth-enabled watches. Like I did try it out eventually on the GBD-H2000, but I never turn on notifications. I never hooked this one up, the Rangeman. I haven't hooked it up yet. But anyways, these Bluetooth watches, you get notifications. You can't respond to them. They just like you have to hectically get back to your computer, your phone, or whatever. You can respond to Kate Smith's email. Okay. Also, this whole blurring effect, I use that blurring effect on a thumbnail. It was the GBD-H2000 rant video. I had that frog guy, Apu, like flipping out And I think it was a rant video about the compass, the arrow on the compass. But I use that same blur. I think I have another picture where I have that blur. I have, oh yeah, here it is. Look. See how it adds to the extreme anger, right? Okay, so here we have the profile of the watch, and this whole case is a lot different than other watches, okay? So just like a regular G-Shock watch, it has a metal back, right? That has the 4 screws that hold it down, and this is true on Casio watches, like this Casio watch, the 4 screws, right? And here's the DWH 5600. It's not the flat metal, but still 4 screws hold it in, right? And so this looks divergent from that, okay? It's like a boat shape. It looks like a boat, like the watch is sitting in a boat, maybe a Viking Nar. Can you get that Nar, the change Nar, off the? Yeah, get that. This is what it reminds me of. You're not going to believe this, all right? Here's a Viking Nar, a Viking warcraft, right? It's filled with change. This used to be, my grandfather was Swedish, so he had Viking stuff, right? This is where he'd keep the keys. And I inherited this. This is my inheritance. I just put my pocket change in there. But look, does this gray body not look like a Viking Nar? Am I wrong? Kids, am I wrong?
No.
No, okay. All right, you can put this back. Thank you, Helen. All right, so anyways, this gray side, it looks like, you know, like the GBD-300, like there's a little bit of chamfer to the bottom edge, maybe some cushioning. I don't know. I'm going off of one picture here. But it does look like the whole design is a lot different than what I've observed before. Oh, and here's the bottom. Sorry. I was thinking that it would have like a turtle belly underside, like a pillow. And boy, was I wrong. It just has a regular 4 screws on the bottom. All right. But this gray plastic on the side, I don't know what that's all about, right? It seems like it would add a little bit of taper to the bottom, you know, to make it more comfortable when you're wearing it. Like if you're running or working out, you know, you want articulation on your arm, and that might help the articulation, right? And here we see the wings. We have wings that take up the corner. These aren't like big wings. Like, let me find some watches with wings. I don't like wings. Wings are for small wristers. But here are the hard plastic wings of the Mudman. All right. And so these wings, like they take up the corner of the watch, and they add some rigidity to the band. And if you're small wrister, they kind of help. They help shape to your wrist. And so this watch has wings. Whether they're hair biters, we don't know yet. It's yet to be seen. The Casio ProTrek PRW 3500, fantastic watch, but in my opinion, these wings bite hair. Uncomfortable if you have hairy arms, right? And so, based on this picture, this could gobble up hairs, right? This could be a hair pincher. Impossible to tell just from looking at it. But when you look at the band, you see some space here for movement of the band over the wing, okay? It's like a track that the band has to move. And that's not the case on the Mudman. The Mudman does not really allow the band to move very much at all, right? But this GDB-300 looks like it has some space for the band to move. Fantastic, right? So we're going to have to try it on to know whether or not this is comfortable. And here's the face, all right? Why does Casio always show us this step counter face? Most of us, what we want is just to see the big numbers. We want the biggest numbers possible on the screen. That's a big selling point for us, right? But in all the promotional literature of the MIP watch, Casio wants to show the screen that has all the weekly step counter. And you don't really know that it's a weekly step counter just by looking at it. It just says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a bar chart that's filled into various levels. That bar chart is the past 6 days, and it has to do with the steps you've taken, whether in the percentage of your goal. And maybe it's your distance walked, I don't know. But that's Casio thinks that that's a selling point for the G-Shock. And that particular face has smaller numbers, and why not just show us the big numbers? Show us the big numbers. Oh, and the buttons are display, mode, start, and lap. All right? And then inside on the perimeter of the watch, these buttons also serve as forward, reverse, run, or back. All right? And I'm going to assume that run also means enter. I don't know. Hard to tell that this might have the same type of interface as the GBD-200. And I have not actually used that watch, so I cannot confirm. And here it is at light in nighttime. And the MIP display is fantastic for legibility, right? It looks great, and the backlight works well too, especially with the automatic flip. When you flip your watch up, it automatically turns on when it senses it's dark. And so those are good features, and that's why people love all of these MIP watches. People buy them just for the legibility of the screen, which is fantastic. But then, with far too many, or a lot of people, they just totally ignore every other feature. They ignore the notification, they ignore the fitness. They just want the screen, right? And so the GBD-H2000 is a little too big for a watch if you just wanted the screen. And so the GBD-200 kind of fit the bill that it was like a smaller watch. And so really the GBD-200 is the MIP square, and the DWH-5600, even though it's styled like the old square, where'd it go? Somewhere, here it is. Even though it's styled the same, for some people it's not a square because it doesn't have the solar and it has the heart rate monitor, right? Anyways, there it is. It looks good. I mean, so we have the screws holding the lugs in, or excuse me, holding the band to the lugs. These are the same as, looks to be the same as what is on the Rangeman GPR H1000. You see the lugs? I don't have my pointer pen here. The screws that hold the lugs on, these screws, they popped out on of my Rangeman. I had to send it back for warranty repair. It just came back this past week. Excuse me, I've been wearing it, seeing how it holds up, but those screws did pop out. And the GBD-H2000, similar screws. And one commenter said that he had problems with these screws getting loose. And so how dependable are these screws? Because you can see that they are being used here on this brand new, unannounced. I've discovered this. They kind of spilled the beans over on the Casio website, the international website. But these screws seem to be the same. And my determination of the problem is that the threads on the screw, where they attach to the watch, is plastic. And so like it's possible for the metal threads to tear out. the plastic threads of the case. Okay, and that's just my working theory. I don't know. A lot of people want to blame me for my actions that I took testing this watch. They want to blame me for the failure of my watch, as if somehow I'm accountable for my actions. You know, they want to hold me accountable, saying that all the diesel that I plunged this watch into, all the hydraulic oil, that's what caused the failure. They're saying that my abuse caused the failure, not inherent designs. Okay. But anyways, this brand new watch, the GBD-300, has these screws that, to me, are a little bit suspicious in terms of how well they hold the band in. All right. And this band has this plastic buckle, the same type of buckle on the GBD-200 and on the GDB-H2000. Okay. I kind of like it. I like this band. I think this band is terrific. I've raved about how well the GBD-H2000 fits. And the buckle is part of how well it fits. Okay, this plastic buckle is pretty thin, and being plastic, it's light, but the tongue is metal, as you can see how it's worn down. So it's durable enough for how it fits into the band. And the band, since it's metal and it's thin, right? Look how many adjustment slots there are. That's good, because there's nothing worse than having a watch with big holes. Like this is the King, the DW GXW 56BB. Okay, the King, a big band, a big double tang buckle, right? But the holes between the distance between the holes is just so big that a lot of times it's hard to adjust. Either it's too loose or too tight, right? And so the GDB H2000 solves that problem by having a lot of adjustments. And what allows that is this very thin tang on the buckle, right? And so we see the same thing here in the GBD-300. A lot of adjustments. It does not look like the same type of material on the GBD-H2000, which is very pliable, very soft and pliable. This looks a little more rigid. Okay, so maybe it would be more like the type of plastic here on the GDB-500. Okay. All right, so that's all the pictures here in the gallery. And they have a 3D rotating image. And yeah, I mean, it just looks a lot like the GDB-200, but round, okay? And it's shock resistant, as are all G-Shocks. 200 meters of water resistance. Keep yourself in time. So it accomplishes this with Bluetooth. No indication that it has multi-band 6, okay? Great for runners. So I'm assuming that the gray portion that I said looked like a Viking warship. I think that part allows the watch to be more comfortable when it's on your wrist when you're exercising. Tracks your training, so it must do this with a step counter and has a sporty design. All right. And so approximate battery life. It does not have the solar charging. So the approximate battery life, 2 years on battery CR2032. Okay? And so you're going to have to change a battery. And that's why we love solar charging is to not have to change a battery, right? But eventually you're going to have to change a battery on the GBD-300. I don't know how much of a big deal it is to you. I mean, you're going to have to get your tools out and take off that back plate and change out the battery. You probably need tweezers. iFixit is a great tool set. I have one of those. But anyways, that is a pain. And some people it might be like we just want the solar charging. And I don't think that the Casio engineers have figured out how to get solar charging on an MIP watch. But somehow the Garmin engineers have. And I'm talking about like with indefinite solar charging. So the sensor feature, the sensors on the GBD-300 have display of distance, speed, pace, and other calculated values based on accelerometer, auto manual lap times, auto pause, target alert setting with time, calories burned on or off, training display customization, which includes elapsed time, distance, pace, lap time, lap distance, lap pace, average pace, speed, calories burned. All right, so I think that a lot of those you'll require the phone to be hooked up. I don't think that it can determine all of those things just from the accelerometer in the watch. So all those training functions, you're going to need to pair it up with your watch, and that's part of the thing with the Square Heart, the DWH-5600. Denise wears this. We were just wearing this today. We went out for a little bike ride, and unfortunately, the DWH-5600 does not have a bike ride exercise, but a lot of the stats you need to hook it up to the phone. Like we went for a walk yesterday, and my range man was saying that we had walked, 2.5 kilometers. And I have this on the metric system because I reset it to send it in for service, and I forgot to turn it back to like real measurement. So we went for a walk, and at the end I was like, oh, we walked 2.5 kilometers. I don't even know what that is, but we've done it. And the DWH-5600 said that we had walked 0.17 miles. And we're like, why is there a huge discrepancy? And we figured out because she was pushing a stroller and the accelerometer did not detect walking because her arms weren't moving, right? But if she didn't have her phone with her, but if she had hooked it up to her phone, it may have been a different story, okay? So I'm saying that just to drive home the point that the GBD-300, to use it to the fullest extent, you'll need the app, okay? And that picture does not look like it's the Casio watches app. All right. Okay, yes, right here. Smartphone link / app connectivity features. The apps is the G-Shock Move app. So they've gone back and forth, right? Casio G-Shock, has their watches app for Casio, then the G-Shock Move app for all of the GBD watches. And then they say, you know what? Nope, everything's going to the Casio watches app. Like they're abandoning the G-Shock Move app. And now I found on the site hidden this watch GBD-300, which going back to the G-Shock Move. All right, the exterior. Here's one of the really interesting thing on G-Shock websites, that they're finally adding the wrist sizes to the bands. And so this band is 145 millimeters to 215 millimeters, all right? And so 215 is the longer band that G-Shock offers. A lot of the smaller ones, like, where is it? This one is only advertised as going up to 205 millimeters, I believe, which is just a little over 8 inches, right? And so the GBD-300 goes out to 215, which is just under 8.5. So that's good. Like, it says to me that the GBD-300 will fit, okay? Just like the GBD-200. So that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. And I don't know if they're going to release this to the American market. I'm willing to give this one a try. I'd like to try it out, try it on. Okay, features. The Casio International website says that running measurements for improving performance. That's the first feature of this new GBD-300. Get not only stopwatch measurements, but also data on distance, speed, pace, and calories burned. The auto lap feature automatically keeps track of times over a set distance, while auto pause suspends measurement when you are not in motion. All right, that last feature is available on the GBD-H2000 and the Rangeman. I call it the dog walking feature. When you go into the settings, you can, when it detects you've stopped, it will stop your timer, it will pause your timer, and pause your distance, pause your pace, pause your how wide your step is, right? While the dog does its business, smelling the little fire hydrant, whatever, doing whatever it needs to do on the fire hydrant, and then you just keep on walking. And when you keep on walking, it will resume your timer and all the stats. So I think that's a good feature. And people who jog in the city, you might have to like stop at a crosswalk or a red light or whatever, and wait for traffic before you run out across the street. And so it will pause the timer, okay? And that's auto pause. All right, auto lap. This says auto lap feature automatically keeps track of times over a set distance. All right, and so my question is, like, if you're running a lap and it's not a standard size track, will it detect? Can you like somehow program it to for your laps? Like where I go running, it's 3/4 of a mile around this little pond. And so that's like an abnormal lap size. But the fitness watch beeps after each mile. It says lap, and the laps advance for each mile. And if you have it set to the metric system, it will assume a lap is 1 kilometer. So that would be good to know if this watch, you can program how wide each lap is. The number 2 feature is step tracker, helpful in making a habit of daily exercise. And by the way, that's true. But like I thought the step counter was kind of dumb. Like when I got the GBD-300, some guys are asking me about the step counter. I'm like, well, I'll check it out, but I think step counters are kind of stupid. But I'll see how accurate it is. I'll check it out. Just to help out fellow watch enthusiasts to know whether or not they need to buy this or not. But like the step counter, I've come to like it because it gives me a general idea of how much, how active I've been throughout the day. Because sometimes, I'll have days where I'm walking back and forth, like fixing equipment, getting in a lot of steps, and other days, it'll be like I'm actually operating this equipment, and I look down and realize that I have not moved very much. I feel very active because I'm doing stuff, but I got to get the blood flowing, right? Start walking, and the motion sensing accelerometer will count your steps automatically. Displays total steps as well as progress towards goals. Send your workout data to a paired smartphone and then use apps to manage your daily exercise logs. All right, so if it's like some other G-Shock watches, then you can use other apps like Strava and Apple Health. Android users have told me that they have not gotten integration with their health apps. All right, number 3, vibration function. Stay on top of desired information. Watch vibrations provide alerts for time elapsed, calories burned, and more during training, as well as telephone, email, and social media notifications for a Bluetooth-linked smartphone. All right, guys, I think that's why that previous picture that's all blurry with the email from Kate Smith, it's not because of like urgent anxiety that it's all blurry. Like, oh no, email Kate Smith, let's get back to the office. I don't think that's why. I think it's because it's supposed to be vibrating. Like that blur is not from panic. The blur is from the watch vibrating. It's going, bzzz, email Kate Smith. All right, so that's why it's blurry. Mystery solved. All right, so that was the vibration function is really useful. Okay, especially working in loud environments, and a lot of people complain about how quiet the beeps are on the Casio watches. Like, it'll never wake you up. You're never going to use this as an alarm to wake up. But the vibration alarm does help, that it can alert you without bothering everybody around you, So I like that. There's another non G-Shock Move watch that has vibration. It's that GBD-300, I believe. The GBD-300, slim compact design for a comfortable fit. This watch boasts the slimmest profile in the G Squad line thanks to a shock-resistant structure that places the glass fiber reinforced resin case between two separate bezels. The front bezel gives a simple casual impression with its octagonal form. The back bumper bezel, with its bowl-shaped curvature wrapping around the case, helps reduce contact with the back of the hand. This comfort-driven design makes the watch great for everyday use. All right, big bang boom. That's exactly what I said. My conjecture was that shape, which I said looked like a Viking warship, was to make it, have that chamfer on the edge to make it more comfortable. Because a lot of these watches that are flat on the back, when they press hard against your wrist, like when you're active and you're moving, and like it's uncomfortable, right? And that's what I love about the GBD-2000 is like this is like a polished stone, right? And so they kind of accomplish the same thing, a little cheaper here on the GBD-300. Okay. Underside design ensuring a great fit on the wrist. Made of soft urethane, the supple band delivers a wide range of motion and features a flexible urethane covering on the underside. When worn, it slides to match the curvature of the band to deliver even greater comfort on the wrist. Parts that come in contact with the skin feature a dotted texture. This prevents the band from slipping as well as from sticking to the skin due to perspiration. All right, so some commenters were complaining that I crank down my watches way too tightly on my wrist. And it might appear that way, but really I like to get my watch up past this bone so that I can fully articulate my arm when I'm active, okay? And so to keep it up there, yeah, I guess it's a little bit tighter than some people wear their watch, okay? And this is saying that it has a dotted texture. The GBD-300 has a dotted texture underside the band. So that would mean that you could get the watch up out of the way when you're exercising, like if you're lifting weights or running or whatever, you can keep the watch out of the way of your hand without having to crank down on it because it doesn't rely so much on the tightness to get the friction it needs to stay up that in the watch, on the band itself will have some friction. In the GBD-2000, the underside is this organic rivulet pattern. It looks like topographical markers or a fingerprint. This was really good for sweat management. I think it had a similar effect where it helped the watch grip your flesh better, okay? And so not all watches are like that. You know, some of the Casio watches have these notches that help keep the keeper up and help get air under, but they're uncomfortable, right? And then watches that don't have anything, well, I guess they all have something. Watches that don't have anything, they, like, here's this one, the MWQ-100. It's too slippery. This is a church watch. I wouldn't want to wear this working or working out because this band has nothing underneath. It would get to be stifling, and when I get sweaty, it would just slip forward. Okay? Multifunctionality with enhanced readability. Memory and pixel LCD. The high contrast LCD makes time display and data such as graphs of track steps easy to read. You can also customize which data points are displayed when tracking data during training sessions. All right, so the watch face is customizable. And my favorite watch face by far of all these customized ones is on the DWH 5600, which is the watch face that just has your heart rate. So it has the time in big numbers and the heart rate. See, my heart rate right now is, what does that say, 86? Can't really see. That option is not available on other watch faces of the G Square line, like this one, GBD-H2000. You can customize the screen, barely read anything on there, all right? So what kind of customization will this GBD-300 allow? We shall see, but obviously I won't have the heart rate on account of it not having a heart rate monitor. But I'm hoping that if you wanted the time and one other parameter, that one other parameter would be in big numbers, not these stupid tiny numbers like on the GBD-H2000 and the Rangeman. All right, so that's a subject of a whole nother rant video, is just the tiny numbers for these parameters, all right? Smartphone link for full functionality at your fingertips. The GBD-300 uses Bluetooth to provide smartphone pairing. The app makes it easy to configure various watch functions, review activity history, manage life log data, and more. Wow, and more. Whew, I wonder what they mean by more. Attention to materials. Bio-based resin, which is stupid. Key resin components used in the case, bezel, band, and more are made with bio-based resin, produced using renewable organic resources. The material is expected to help reduce environmental impact. All right, this is stupid, all right? Plastic comes from oil and gas, all right? Plastic is a petroleum product. If you're like, oh, I'm going to use bioresin to help save the planet, you're using additional energy like to grow crops or whatever, or process trash to then make gas to make resin. Or you could just drill a hole in the ground and get that gas out and then use that to make resin. You know, which one is better for the environment? Regular plastic, all right? The super illuminator for maintaining watch readability in the dark. And super illuminator means high brightness auto LED backlight. I think we already talked about that, so I don't need to read it, but okay, in this other blurb right here, the GBD-300 uses the GPS functionality of a paired smartphone to adjust distance measurements, after which the watch can measure running distance more precisely, even when not connected to your phone. Equipped with auto lap, the watch also tracks running pace and automatically keeps track of times over a set distance. All right, so that's an answer to a question I had earlier. Tap into the dedicated app for visuals that help you see your own personal records and easily manage life log data and activity history. All right, well, there you go. So you get the black one, and then you have a white one, right? And the white has gray accents, and then you have the yellow one. And so the yellow has two shades of yellow. All right. So I think that all three of these look really cool. And as soon as I saw this, I was on the G-Shock International website. And don't ask why I was there, but I was looking at something and I happened to notice this. And I made a quick little video short about it to see if anybody had...
Have you guys ever heard of this watch? It says...
Yeah, it's a little what do they call these, shorts, YouTube shorts, and I got some comments. All right, Jay Simpson said, I saw this and like you immediately looked for solar. Nope, Casio won't give us a budget MIP with solar and without heart rate monitor. Okay, yeah, so like the watch that we all want, like that. When I first saw the GBD-300, I was like, oh, this is probably the watch we all want. Just a watch, MIP display, tough solar. That's it. Is it here? And the answer is no. This is a round GBD-200, and it looks like it has some additional software features, right? Sniper King, which, let me get his name right. Christian of Tampa, Sniper King.
The GBD-300.
He says, wish they would come out with the G-Shock King 2. Updated module similar to the new Rangeman, but iconic giant square shape. So he's talking about the King. And so the King's big. The King makes a statement, right? The problem is that it's very difficult to read because not only does it have a negative screen, but it's sunk down in. So imagine this watch with this size display with this type of display. That would be something else, right? But no, we're getting another small watch whose solar charging does not hold up. And by the way, this is solar. The King is solar. And this particular King also has multi-band 6. That's why I'm keeping this one. Nagayan Hiu says, this is the GBD-300, but we have the round shape. That's all. From my side, I still prefer the square shape more than this. Yes. I thought when I made a reply, I was like, well, it has, I think there's more buttons, so it might have a better interface. And I was thinking, like, part of the problem with these MIP watches is that, like, when you get a regular square, like the 5610 or the 5600 with the LCD, when you go to the different modes, all you have to do is just press the mode button. Like, here it is on time. And then you press this, and now you're on, what is that, world time? Yeah, okay. So you press the mode, here's the alarm, right? You press the mode, here's the stopwatch, the timer, right? You're hitting the mode each time, okay? And so all you need is the mode button, and you just cycle through the modes, right? Now, these MIP watches, they didn't just change the display. You cycle through the modes, like, by pressing forward or reverse, right? And so, like, after you select the one you want, like, let's say you want the stopwatch, you go down to the stopwatch. There's a lot to go through. And then you press enter. So you kind of doing like menu diving, okay? And so it's really confusing on like the square because there's not enough buttons for a back button, right? And so I thought that this GBD-300, you know, it has this center button. I thought that if they took the light button out of and put it in the center rather than around the side, that it would help like menu dive. And that would be an improvement over the GBD-200. But I was looking at pictures of the GBD-200, and I think the GBD-200 already has that center light button. So I think that Nagoyan is right in that yeah, we just have, it's like, from what I've read, they've added more functionality with the auto lap feature and stuff. It's all software. It seems like it's round. The GBD-300 is round. It has additional software features, but it without holding them each and comparing them, it seems like, you know, it's pretty much the same. I mean, it seems like it. V Cool BGT says, no solar, but it's sporty, thumbs up. And I can tell that thumbs up is a very sarcastic thumbs up. Project Serpo 90. What? I've never heard of this model, nor have I seen any promotional pictures or videos. I didn't either. I mean, like, I get emails from Casio. Like, I got an email about this one coming out, which is the WSB 1000. It has a step counter, and it's like the Casio version of the GDB 500, right? And so as soon as I got that email, I purchased this watch. But and you know, obviously they have some different markets. Seems like some watches are released first in the American market, and some are released first in international markets. And, you know, like some of the watch blogs will get the inside scoop. The GBD-300, I didn't hear about it anywhere. Like I said, I was going to the Casio International website. Don't ask me why, but I was going there and I just happened to see this GBD-300. Surprise. Black Forest Ghost, wow. Again, a watch with ridiculous short timer, stopwatch without 1/100ths of a second, no solar, no track back function, no nothing we customers ask for. What a joke. Black Forest Ghost holds Casio's feet to the fire. He's not afraid to jump in the comments and call them out, okay? Because it's absolutely infuriating how, like, it's like, here we are in the year of our Lord, 2024, and Casio's taking a step backward in so many functions of the watches. And, like, so I still have the stopwatch up, right? You start the stopwatch on these MIP displays and it only goes to seconds. It does not display fractions of a second. Will the GBD-300 display fractions of a second? And they say, oh, you can't because the refresh rate is too slow in an MIP. That's fine, but when I press stop, just let me know the fractions of a second. Like, I'm helping to coach football this year, so like we time the 40-yard dash. Everybody's 40-yard time is going to be 5 or 6 seconds, right? Maybe or 4, 5, or 6 seconds. There's only going to be 3 values for your 40-yard dash time, right? And also the timer is 60 minutes, which can't even time how long the laundry takes on a modern energy efficient washer, right? When the timer only goes to an hour. And unfortunately, that is spilling over to a lot of other watches where the timer only goes to an hour, including the GBD-300. I've already lost it. Where is it? There it is. Nope. Nope, it's gone. I have so many watches here. I'm just flooded with watches. It's gone. And the Mudman, I got to show you this. The Mudman is a new watch, but in the old style, right? And so look at this timer. 433 hours, 49 minutes, and 14 seconds. Okay? I started this a few months ago. When it gets up to 1,000 hours, it just rolls over. I keep on wanting to make a YouTube video where I catch it rolling over for 1,000 hours, and each time I miss, I'm like, oh, I guess I got to wait till next month. And the timer on this one, I think it goes out to 24 hours. So this is set for 1 hour and 12 minutes, this timer. And this is an older style. Similar thing here on the King, similar thing here on the old G-Shock Square, right? But suddenly all these new watches, this one included, the GBD-500, all of the new Casios. You want to use a timer on your brand new Casio watch, brand new cutting edge watch? Sorry, your timer only goes up to 1 hour. All right, some user, let me see what his name is, Cly White, all right? He said, why do you care? Get a $5 watch at Walmart. They last for years. Oh, and they do exact same thing. They tell you what time it is. $5 watch at Casio that lasts for years. Now I'm thinking of going to Walmart. $5 watch at Walmart and it lasts for years. You know, I go to Walmart. I've done some videos from Walmart. You know, I take a page out of Top Cat's book, and I'll just walk through Walmart, look at their watch offerings. The best watch they have is the AE 1500, $22. This one will last for years. My buddy Will wears this. He's in coil tubing. It's beaten up, but it's still going, right? Walmart does not sell a long-lasting $5 watch. First of all, the pricing at Walmart is like $4.80 cents, right? So they have cheap watches at Walmart, but they're like George brand. And when you go and you look at them, they're already falling apart in the store. Like in the store, they're broken. Like you hold up the box to look at the watch, and it is falling apart. Like I'm using an infinitive verb, right? It's falling apart in the box at the store, and it's cheap. So Walmart does sell long-lasting watches, right? Like the AE 1500. And they do sell $5 watches, but there's no long-lasting $5 watch unless someone else knows something that I don't know about, right? So, Adebisi says, not bad, yellow is cool. And that is true. The yellow is a cool color. They have the Rangeman in yellow. Now they have the GBD-300 in yellow. I think they're making yellow because a lot of guys like the yellow. Even Termit has a yellow watch. You know how much of a watch snob Termit is? Excuse me, snob. I didn't mean to say snob. he has a high bar for watches, right? He has a yellow watch, right? And so, and yeah, they're offering the yellow in a lot of different of the G-Shock watches. All right, Tissot. All right, we're gonna shift tack here. Tissot has the Boston Celtics 2024 NBA champions. All right, and so Tissot has a deal with the NBA, and so they have some NBA watches, right? And so this particular one is their, what is this, a chronograph watch? What do they call this? It has a tachometer around the perimeter, and it has like the chronograph and all that stuff. And it has this band that it looks like it's pleather or leather. Maybe it's basketball. Maybe it's made of basketball. I don't know. It's black leather with green stitching for the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are your NBA champions, right? And I think this watch looks really cool. It is a quartz watch, right? It retails for $550, which I believe is about a $75 premium to maybe a $100 premium to the regular one of these chronograph watches. They're NBA chronograph watches. Looks like it has two bands. Looks like it has a metal bracelet or the leather band with the green stitching. And so I think this looks pretty cool. It's it's a big size since it's with an NBA. It's kind of more of an urban style, and so that means it's a bigger watch, right? It only has 100 meters of water resistance, but I'm looking for 45 and a half millimeters from end to end, and a 22 millimeter lug width. So it's a big watch, right? And so I am interested in this, but costs a little bit more than I would want to spend, but it still looks like a cool watch. And if you're a Celtics fan, might be one you want to get. My uncle was a huge Celtics fan when I was in elementary school. I guess I was in 6th grade. He gave me like this leather hat, black leather hat for the Celtics. And it was like the first thing I ever wore to school. Kids were like, "Oh, that's so awesome." So that's what it kind of reminds me of. And while we're talking about the Celtics, let's just look again at this half-court shot, a buzzer beater half-court shot in the NBA Finals. Unbelievable, right? How many of you guys saw that? Oh, and the timer that expired was a Tissot timer. I don't know if they're going to show it, but right under the shot clock it says Tissot. So that's a Tissot watch way up there. All right, Daphne, go get Helen. We're going to need an honest reaction here. All right? This is the regular G-Shock website for the United States, and they have released this brand new series called Baby G Summer Jelly. Does that sound yummy? Summer Jelly? All right, come here. So the Baby G Summer Jelly is a refreshingly translucent design for a great summer look. And these are like, back in the day, the girls had shoes called jellies. It was like this translucent, like shoes, kind of like Crocs, I guess, but more like flip-flops, like sandals, all right? So it has a see-through shape and charming material. So the case is a color, and then the bezel and the band are the translucent jelly. All right, so you have yellow, blue, or pink.
I'll get blue.
You
I'll get pink.
Okay, Helen likes the pink. Daphne likes the blue. All right, let's look at the blue. Bright, fresh, and playfully translucent. The perfect summer Baby G to go with your active life. This sunny take on the compact BGD 565 features the iconic bezel and band and clear resin, allowing the bright tinted resin of the center case to show through. All right. So this is just like Phil's watch, right? Phil has a square. This is a 5610. So the squares are usually called a 5600. There's a bunch of variations of the square. And this particular watch that we're looking at, girls, this is the Baby G version of the square. It's smaller, all right? And it's not as water resistant as 10 bar, but it has the same 4-button style. Does that look nice? Can you swim in it? Definitely, it's a G-Shock, of course. Look, oh, here's Helen's. You guys remember Helen won this in the Cozy contest? So she has a translucent one, but it's like the 6900, but the Baby G version of that, right? And then here the watches are at the beach. You want to take these watches to the beach?
Yeah.
All right. And this is the blue. So it has a metal buckle and a translucent case. And, oh, look, and here these models are wearing the watch while eating popsicles. Do you girls like popsicles?
Yeah.
So if you get this watch, forever after, the color or the flavor of your popsicle has to match your watch. All right? That's kind of a rule with Baby G watches. $99. Is that a lot of money? Yeah, it is a lot of money. All right. And while I have you girls here, we need your honest reaction on something else, because before I was hinting at the fact that I was going to the international Casio website for a reason. And the reason is that, Casio G-Shock releases a lot of watches to the international market that they don't release to the American market, all right? And like they have more Pro-Trex and more Edifice watches for the international market. Now the Baby G lineup for the international market is a lot bigger, right? And so I was looking at this whole ecosystem around this Baby G watch that has these like Tamagotchi style watches where you have the watch, you take it out of the case, out of the band, and you put it in an egg. All right? And so here there's like a fuchsia color, white, pink, or purple. What color do you girls want to look at?
Pink. Purple.
How about white?
What? Pink.
Everyone's saying a different one. All right. You want to see the fuchsia or the purple?
Purple.
All right. Daphne wants to look at the purple. Let's look at the purple. All right. And so they have released this to the American market, but they have more accessories for this in the international market. All right. So this watch does not have like the 8-segment display. It has like a matrix display. It looks pretty big, but then you pop the watch, like the actual watch out, and you put it in this egg, and then you can dangle it from jewelry or from your backpack, or it's like a pocket watch, so you can move it back and forth. And in the top right corner where it has the day of the week in this display, see where it says sun for Sunday? On other occasions, there will be like other animations. Like there'll be a cat or a dog or a surfer or a dancer. Something like that. So on the international G-Shock website for the Baby G, right? They have a bunch of other accessories that like you can put this into like this thing right here, this like angry looking cat. What is that even? It's like Hello Kitty, but it's like kind of that's one way of putting it. An evil Hello Kitty. That yeah, exactly. And a Hello Kitty that should meet Hello Doggy, right? I'm trying to find it, but there's like a bunch of like stickers and stuff you can put on there. They're not showing it on the website. I saw it somewhere. That's why I came to the international website, was to look and see if there was like more accessories. And so there's a little bit of the these little animations. So that looks like a cat, that looks like a dog, that looks like a blowfish, that looks like a dolphin, that looks like a dancing man. So you have little animations there in the and I don't know if you have to feed them. Like Tamagotchi came out, I think I was in high school when they came out. There were little toys that had little animals on a little device, and you had to feed it by pressing a button. And if you didn't, it would die. So I don't know if you have to like feed the dancing man or feed the cat or feed the dog. I don't know, or whether you just look at them. But that's what's on this watch. And this particular one we're looking at is the BGD-10K. Does that sound interesting?
Yeah.
All right. So we need a girl's perspective, honest reaction. Do you like the BGD-10K or the BGD-565?
This one.
You like this one, the BGD-565?
Yeah.
You like the blue color? So the BGD-565. We saw this one at Dillard's, this green one. It's not translucent. You like that one better?
No.
And this one's in blue. You like that one?
No.
You don't like that one, all right. This one is a collaboration model. And what else do we have? This is white with pink. This is a Tweety Bird one.
The Looney Tunes.
This one's a Hello Kitty. And this is the beach one. So these are the BGD-565, the Baby G version of the square. And so you like this blue one the best?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That is Daphne's honest reaction. And what is your honest reaction to all these watches, including the GBD-300?
Guys ever
All right. Let me know in the comments below.